Okay, we're back. I understand that there's a lot of short span of time between some of these videos. It's because we're squeezing in as much as we can in the time that we have available. We have been doing some things, as you can see by this interface now. We still have our Microsoft LifeCam looking down on the table. Top left hand corner, big video, is the Android phone through sharing of AnyDesk software projecting to the PC and OBS, and that's what we're recording this on the PC. And then we've added a convenient video capture down the bottom left for our 3D printer, as we can monitor as we're printing something instead of having to flip back between screens and such. I think I just changed the focus on that, didn't I? All right, well, anyway, I was hoping to not goof around with that camera because it's a manual focus for good reason. And what we are doing, what you are seeing there on the printer right now, is a top canopy of 3 trees separated from 3 trunks of the trees. The reason that we're doing that, and I can show you a finished example, is that the printer operates much better when objects are split in half so that they're not so tall. Because I think, based on the sophistication of the 3D printer, at some point the height of a object becomes potentially, not always, compromised by the mechanical nature of the printer itself. This is a belt drive. This is not a direct gear drive. Yes, it is not a direct drive, it is a belt drive. So over time, the belts become potentially loose. I'm not saying they are, but they become potentially loose, and the wheels become potentially softer. So there are some developments in 3D printing that need to be addressed, and that's one of them. They are 99.9% perfect to 0.0. I don't want to. I suppose you could say 0.04, 0.05 millimeter accuracy, and that is maybe crazy. I don't know. I think that's it. That may be wishful thinking. And we're talking about filament printing here, not resin. So the filament printing is good, but it's not perfect. In other words, it's not 100%. It's 99 point something perfect. Which means the higher you have an object, the more errors are potentially going to creep in. So by splitting an object in half, you can eliminate the potential for that error to creep in. And here is what the result looks like. You have your bottom tree trunks. These are simple columns, and they're not that sophisticated in detail. And then you have your top canopy of bush, so just little bushes. And even, by the way, these look like by themselves rocks or something, terrain, but you put them together and that becomes a tree canopy. And to put this in perspective, here is a Battlemaster. And again, we're attempting to print all our mechs at 10 millimeter scale. So much larger than the 1/285th scale, which is 6 millimeter, that are the BattleTech and and the BattleTech models from Catalyst are 6 millimeter, 1/285th scale, and we are trying to get to 10 millimeter, which is 1/100th. 1/165th scale. So 10 millimeter is the answer, and that's what we're shooting for. So this is a Battlemaster next to a tree canopy. Now, it doesn't look like much, right? But when you paint it up, and let me just do it like this. You paint it up and you put it on the game table, these all look really good. And as you can see, as a matter of fact, top left-hand camera view, you see how many we've printed so far. And you may say, well, Terry, how long does it take to print all that? And every one of these split prints has taken a 2-hour time period. So what we do is we set it and forget it. Well, not entirely. We set the 3D print, we watch it for 20-30 minutes because we need to make sure that the print is started correctly. We don't want to have it, all of a sudden there's an error, after printing the raft on the 3D print. So once it's on its way, once the raft is properly printed and everything is fine, then we realize, well, you can't just watch it for 2 hours, so you might as well let it go. And so this is what we've done so far. So if you print every 2 hours, eventually after 5 days, you'll have quite a few trees. And as you can see, we have chosen this layout of these 3 trees because they are almost perfect with the Safari brand plastic trees that we've been buying online or have been buying. And as you can see now, there's maybe no reason to buy any more of them because we've been replacing all of our old hobby railroad, if you want to call them that. The brand is Lifelike trees that everybody uses. Everybody uses Lifelike trees. Or other brand of trees that bought at hobby stores or craft stores, small trees, medium-sized trees, and so on. And so because a quantity is needed, it becomes prohibitive. So if a person or a firm can print hundreds of these 3D images and make them available to people for cheap, then it means a lot more people will have the ability of having war game trees without breaking their bank account. All right, here's the pine I was talking about. Right? Doesn't have a trunk, because usually pines are kind of, unless they're alpine pines, they're just really close to the ground. So it's a nice job. This took a little while to print. It's pretty detailed. It's nice. And again, it came from Thingiverse. So I'll put that tree out there. You can see it a little better. But here we have our AnyDesk software screen capture. Anyway, so there we are. A little bit of tutorial or information on types of trees and how we're printing them. And as far as I'm concerned, the Safari brand plastic trees are definitely viable, and I hope they keep making them. I believe they may have actually sold to a different company now, like Wildlife or something like that, now owns the molds. But these are relatively cheap for like 7 or 8 trees, $11 to $13. And again, you don't need a lot of them. Yeah, just, a few to put some trees out there. And the reason that we're using them is they're indestructible. They won't fall apart. They won't ever break. And you can throw them around the room, right? They're just pieces of plastic. And they're colored, which is good, whereas ours are gray. Now, if we had green filament, everything would be much better. But we don't. We just have gray. If we continue with this, we'll maybe get some green or even brown, so that we don't have to paint these. Essentially, they are going to be already base color. Brown would probably be the smarter thing to do, but green is actually the better thing to do. So there we are. As we see, our print is getting 3/4 of the way through its production, and you can see how that's happening. And so, yeah, it's about 3/4 of the way through, just based on the height of the canopy that's being done now. And there we are. Okay, so as we said before, we're still showing turn 4. We're going to get to turn 5. Don't worry. I know everyone is really, oh wait, yeah, turn 5. Let's do it. So we'll get to that point. And can I also say, I have just noticed that the Marauder looks like it's painted well, and I'm not sure it is. I mean, it just looks like it is by the shadowing, and that shadowing is a nuance of the lighting. It's not. I didn't paint it that way. I did paint the Marauder, but it looks like it's been better painted than it actually is. Okay, so we'll come back.